does is propagates financial planning. It also propagates goal-based investing, which I think all of us agree that that is the right way for any investor or for any advisor to advise. But I think there are a couple of issues here which needs to be really looked at. Now what has happened is, if you look at the structure per se, if we are a corporate entity, it's fine with us because we can create two different departments of advisory and execution. But think of individual IFAs. Okay, now everyone aspires to become an advisor because if that is how you're defining advisory to be. At the same time, as Karthik said, let's just accept it that how many people in India are willing to pay you fees? And that is not a model on which you can survive. You need distribution to be with you. Now, if I'm an individual IFA, I can either be an advisor or I can do execution. I can't do both. So what are you doing? If I decide that I want to be an advisor, okay, you are killing my entire business because that's where my money is going to come from, right? And if I go for execution, then you're killing my aspiration because you're not letting me become an advisor. Now, if you look at on the other side of it also, it says that if you decide to become an executor or let's say a distributor, you are allowed to do certain advice incidental to your business. Now I think there's a lot of ambiguity there.
Yeah.
You don't know where to draw a line. You don't know when the inspection will happen, what they're going to see. So I think there is some amount of ambiguity. I think there is what is required is some more clarification. We also should not forget that while we want to improve the standard of advisory, let's not forget what is the need of the hour today is to expand the industry. And an advisor, a pure advisor, cannot expand because he's not going to talk about product. He will not talk about so many things. So I think what you need is, there is no need, I think, to separate these two. You can have procedures. You can explain what can be done and what cannot be done, rather than trying to segregate at this stage. I think we have a long way to go. So I personally feel that, yes, it's a good beginning. But I think in terms of regulation, there is a lot that needs to be done.
Oh, great. How has an institution like yours tackled it in India?
I think I kind of echo what Hemant has said. Fundamentally, this is a step in the right direction. It'll propagate responsible finance from our perspective. But if you look at around the world, both advisory and standardized distribution architecture, both have coexisted, be it in US, be it in UK, where you see a significant large contribution or significant large share of mutual fund industry if you compare to GDPs. So I think both the model will coexist. If you need to embrace and grow this industry, given we're a very, very small, concentrated among top 5 cities, predominantly 7% of GDP, I think both the model will continue to evolve, and I think that's the role. And the role for each of them, whether you are a distributor or an advisor, is to play a responsible finance, which is to follow the goal-based approach, do the risk profiling, do the standard asset allocation, and so on and so forth.
You created 2 divisions internally?
No, I think we as a bank believe that we are an open architecture distributor. We don't manufacture any products ourselves, so we prefer to take a position of an open architecture distributor.
Okay. Jignesh bhai.
Yeah. I think it's a good beginning, and probably globally also there are both the businesses are there, the fee-only model and the distribution model. But I think the core is in any of the model, if your client is at center, I think probably both the model will work well. And the biggest challenge for fee-only model is a compensation, because if you look at even in a medical profession where I know one physician, he runs pathology as well as the chemistry in his chemist shop in his clinic, where his revenue is 60 to 70% earning is out of these 2 activity, and balance 30% is out of the pure consulting. So probably the fee-only consultants, I think how they get compensated in future, things will evolve. But I think it's a good beginning. It's a good beginning, and probably the future is very bright, because each and every household they required financial consultants.
Rajiv.
Yes, we've taken, Prem, a very different view to this. We believe that when you operate at a national scale and you're a 50-year-old firm and you have, investors numbering a few 100,000 to convince something, it's a long haul. So therefore, we've taken a gradual approach. We've decided that we have registered, we've got our license. We're going to take the fee-based model to a one particular segment of clients who we have identified after a lot of research. We've done surveys with over 200 investors. We've come to identified a segment, and we are going to take it only to a new segment of the market. And that's going to be a pilot which we are going to run, let's say, for 1.5 to 2 years. Parallelly, we have converted, and just picking up from what Jignesh Bhai just said, we have converted our entire business into a fee-based model. Now, we are taking this definition beyond what regulation prescribes. Technically, fee-based model is where the investor, you charge him something, probably, let's say, there could be several models, but you charge him something on his assets under advice. That's the most popular model globally. So even in mutual funds as a product segment, if you are working on a trail-based model, and that, that in other words means that you are working, even though you are compensated by commission, and in UK, there have been surveys that how the advisors, investors want to compensate their advisors. About 75% of investors want to compensate their advisors through a fee, but they want it to be embedded in the product they're buying. So therefore, if we took a considered decision on 1st October, we're just coming to our 2-year anniversary, we approached all the asset management companies and we shifted to a trail-based model. And I have now 2 years proof of this shift, that our mutual funds as a share of our total revenue within our company on 1st October 2012 was 20%, which has grown to 55%. And in last year, now that all the commission figures are public, last year our mutual fund commissions have grown by 23%, and my team tells me that we are the fifth fastest growing. This is the fifth fastest growth in brokerage commission, for any distributor. So I have reasons to believe that while internally and externally, everybody we spoke to, everybody was very skeptical of this transition to a fee-based model under the distribution structure. I believe we have made this transition successfully. Only 30% of our revenues come from closed-ended, and 70% comes from open-ended and all trail-based remuneration. So it is, I believe it's a question of mindset. To get the pricing right in the financial planning business worldwide is the biggest decision. Today, your topic is how financial distribution is evolving. If I take a global look, there are several disruptive online models which have come worldwide. There are at least 10 models we are tracking in international markets and at least 4 or 5 in India. And none of them have yet, while they are private equity, venture capital funded, none of them have figured out their revenue model. So the biggest challenge for our business going forward is what will be the revenue model. And I think we have a simpler decision, and the simpler decision is that shifting within the distribution, because the majority on the panel also, most of us are saying that distribution will have to remain distributors because the RIA guidelines are too tight and too limiting to make this whole hog shift. And especially the larger you are, if you are a 200 people organization like Jaideep's, Kashikar's BrainPoint, who have made a complete transition, they can afford to do that and grow very well. But if you are a 100,000 client company, it's not possible immediately. So then you have to take a gradual approach like us. But we can make this customer-centric transition to a trail-based model. And we are happy to see that the industry is also supporting. So I'm happy to note and acknowledge that Franklin Templeton has now shifted to this model for their IFAs. IDFC has shifted. SBI has launched some new schemes which they have shifted to this model. There is very good support coming from the industry as well.
Okay. Jignesh, on the new sort of a structure which is evolving of a heavy this thing towards trade, what are your views and what is your company doing on that?
On the distribution side, I think currently we are following the current structure which is prevailing in the market. And right now, basically we are into B2B, we are not into B2C.
Sure, yeah.
So we have more than 16,000, 17,000 advisors, those who are attached to us. So in terms of compensation structure, we are flexible because cost to customer is kept by the regulator. So it doesn't matter. So within that, any form of brokerages we are comfortable with.
But your partners, as you call them, are they comfortable with the transition to receiving a trail fee?
So we have variety of partners in terms of business model and in terms of age both.
Okay.
Now, in terms of age, if you look at the new advisor, those just started his career, and our major focus is on SIP, Systematic Investment Plan. And the compensation on SIP is extremely low because we are focusing on retail SIP. So today we have, let's say, close to around 7 lakh account, and in terms of the input value is about 150 crores. But so the average ticket size is close to around 2,000 rupees. So if you just take a case study of, let's say you have 50 people, those who are selling SIP for 3 months, and irrespective of any AMC, and you just calculate the remuneration is less than your office boy. I mean, so this is the biggest challenge for the beginners to sell long term. So there probably the bit of upfront will help them to just start and motivate them to get into a business. But the second model, those who are into this business since last 5 to 10 years, those who have already built, let's say, 100, 150, 200 crores of AUM, probably their major source of revenue is out of trail. So probably in that particular segment, trail may be very useful for them. So we as a principal distributor, we have all types of advisors within our platform. So it's our duty to provide solution depending on need for the expansion of the market.
Okay, got it. But Ashish, you do not have any sub-brokers, obviously. But what are your views on...
So, from my perspective as a bank, we offer a bunch of products, correct? And our endeavor is to provide the right product for the right client. So, and the investment product constitute a small component of what we offer. But having said so, and I'm speaking on behalf of a lot of people who are here, and if you compare the structure in India with regards to fee, and you compare to the rest of the markets in Asia, I guess India tends to be on the lower side. And the second thing is, if you want to provide a high-quality intermediation, then you need to have a fair bit of compensation. And so I think that's what it is. So it will become challenging as we are hearing the rest of the panel talk about, as the model evolves. I think that's one component which I'm sure manufacturer will have to look at. So that's my take on this.
Hemant,
In terms of...
in terms of trail, in terms of upfront,
Well,
in terms of...
I think what we have done for our company, for example, is we have a bit of both. With some fund houses, we are on all trail, and with some fund houses, we are upfront and trail. I think the reason for that is very clear. One, I think we still haven't reached. Obviously, all of us would love to be on all trail model because you know that as the markets will do well, your income will go up. But let's face it. Can we be very confident about the fact how the investor is going to behave? You put in hard work, put in a lot of hard work, you build an AUM. What is the guarantee for how long the investor is going to stay with you? We have seen that. Till today, we have been discussing that you still have, net outflows for many of the products. So the point is that you also need money upfront to build your businesses, to build systems, processes, and to grow. So I personally feel that I think it should be a bit of both, and as I think Jignesh said very clearly, someone who has already built some corpus can afford to go on all trade model, but someone who is in the process of building up the business, I think it has to be a bit of both. It cannot be this or that.